Hi everybody, it's me, Mr. XStitch. I'm back. Thought I'd do a BossTube, tell you what I've been up to. It's been a heck of a month, let me tell you that much. Let's find out, shall we? To be honest, I don't really know what happened in the month of August. It seems to have flown by. All I know is I had two big projects that had to be delivered by the end of the month, and I got them delivered. First up, issue 5 of XStitch magazine, which I'm waiting to get back from the printers. Pretty happy with it, heroes and villains. It's got 15 boss designs in it from some of the best in the business. And once again, the magazine has got 3 new designers included in the mix, which I think brings my total up to about 40 different designers that we've had over the 5 issues. Maybe not quite as many as that, but we're definitely up there. And I feel really chuffed to provide a platform for new people to be able to come and share their work with a wider audience. I'm really pleased with the book as well. It's got 2 front covers. There's a Heroes cover featuring a design by Ottilie in XStitches, and there's a Villains cover featuring a design by Leah Emery, and I think they're boss. Issue 4 of XStitch had a toilet with some flowers in it on the front cover, which was probably a first in a cross-stitch magazine, and I'm pretty sure that there has never been a cross-stitch magazine that has had a double-fronted flip halfway through type experience either. So it's fair to say that XStitch is game-changing magazine, and I'm very proud of that fact. The magazine also came together really nicely. Each issue I do, I feel a bit happier with it, and I feel more confident in the design approaches I'm taking to the page layouts and all those sorts of things. So bit by bit it is getting more streamlined, and bit by bit things are getting easier. Also then, on the 27th of August, it was 10 years since I wrote the first blog post as Mr. XStitch, which is completely bonkers. 10 years ago I sat down, I just got back from my first honeymoon, and I sat down and decided that I would try and do something to change the world of cross-stitch, to just funk things up a little bit and make it interesting. And to be honest, I didn't really know what that meant at the time. Hopefully I'd sell a few of my patterns that I just set up on my Etsy store, but here we are 10 years later, doing this full time, producing a magazine and generally being the Kingpin of Contemporary Embroidery. Like, amazing. I have been so blessed to have met so many amazing people and had so many people support me along the line. People like, for instance, Zoe Williams, who's written my Felter Skelter column since 2009. Every month posting something about needle felting because she's a fantastic artist and she loves it. There are so many people who've been involved in the process, who've come and gone, some of whom have stayed with me, and I am forever grateful for all of their support. I've learned so much in that time. I've learned how to abuse the support of volunteers, how to embrace the support of volunteers. I've learned when to start doing things, when to stop doing things. Did you know I had a podcast? No, that podcast is long gone, but I've experimented with that. I've tried membership sites. I set up a site called Weave, which was going to be like a little social network for stitches, and I completely ran out of capacity for it and then hid from it until it dwindled and died. To be honest, I wouldn't mind doing another thing again. When I first set it up, it was going to be, because knitters have got Ravelry, and so I was going to set one up and just call it Rivalry, but I thought that that was a bit antagonistic. But I still feel like there's scope for a social network just for stitchers to come and share their stuff. But I tried that and it didn't work. I've tried various things along the way and they haven't worked, and I feel like that failure has probably taught me along the way. I've bruised some people, and I'm not really happy about that. I've inadvertently caused people discomfort in the past. But then I've also had the flip of that, and I've had a lot of people who've got a lot of benefit from the stuff that I've done. And even to this day, I still get people who say they're grateful for the work that I've tried to do. And that to me is very heartwarming. And it's really heartwarming for me to be able to be an ambassador for needlework. It's a truly inspirational thing, and I feel very honoured to be able to do it. I've had some fantastic experiences. I've had the ability to go to Indonesia, and I've had the ability to go to Lebanon and meet people who are like Syrian refugees, and we've been able to talk about that funny thing of when it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're just like, oh, I'll just do a few more stitches. Like, those kind of adventures have been amazing, and it has all come from me enjoying cross stitch and putting myself out there, and that's just been stunning. So yeah, I managed to wiggle together a sort of 10th birthday celebration thing. To be honest, when I first started, when it was the first year of Mr. XStitch, I made a massive hoo-ha about it because I I still had time, and this time I managed to write a couple of blog posts, and that was about the best of it. But to say I suffer from capacity issues is an understatement, let's put it like that. But yeah, so got the magazine out, got that off to the printers on time, got the digital version of the magazine out to the digital subscribers in time, celebrated my 10th birthday as Mr. XStitch, and then also managed to set up my exhibition at Standen House, which is now on until the 11th of November, and if I say so myself, is pretty boss. I'm really chuffed with the exhibition. We've got work from the Royal School of Needlework archives, we've got frames from the first year degree students so people can see canvas work examples from this year, and then we've got modern work from people like Keith with his giant size Elvis and his Fresh Prince of Bel-Air denim jacket. We've got transforming Transformers and tiny video games from Lord Libidan. We've got the intricate, I cannot tell you how intricate it is, work of Karen Garfin, who does tiny cross stitches. You have to have magnifying glasses to be able to see them. They're ridiculously good, and it's a real honour to have her. We've got the thought-provoking work of Tanya Bukal, whose work on refugees and migrants captures those fleeting images that we see and take for granted, recreates them in cross-stitch, and really makes you think about the situation. I've got the work of Diane Mayer, who I've been a massive fan of for ages, whose Berlin series, she cross-stitches on top of landscapes, pixelates them, cross-stitches on top of those images, puts them all together. They're amazing. And what I really love about Diane's work is she's got it framed in glass on both sides so you can see the back of it, because she's badass. We've also got Crapestry's work. We've got the work of Spike Dennis, whose little stump work cross-stitch pieces fill a whole corridor. Oh, and then there's me as well. But you can't have everything, can you? But no, it's been fantastic. I spent a couple of days down in East Grinstead putting that exhibition on, learning to cope, because Standen House, it is an arts and crafts property that used to be owned by the Beale family, and they commissioned a guy called Philip Webb, who was a contemporary of William Morris, to put together the building for them. It's a beautiful example of an arts and crafts property where the devil is in the detail and there's loads of lovely craftsmanship throughout the property. It's quite understated, so it's not as flamboyant as some National Trust properties, but it's a great example of a house that you can tell was lived in and worked in, and my exhibition is in part of the servants' quarters. Now with that comes some constraints, because in some of the rooms there were cupboards and we can't stick things onto the cupboards, and you can't drill holes in some of these walls, and some of the walls have vintage wallpaper behind them, so you can't just put things up willy-nilly. So trying to get the pieces up in a way that would sort of meet the needs of the property while still making it look like a nice exhibition was a bit of a challenge, and it was good fun to be able to kind of sink your teeth into it. I say good fun because there's always those panicky moments. One of the techniques we used was using drawing pins in the top edges of doors, and then fishing wire, which has got a tension and can hold things up to like 7 kilos, and then attaching those to the pieces. And when you're attaching them to a piece that's like from the 1800s, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. Nonetheless, we put the pieces up. The next day they were still hanging up. Everyone was happy. Then on Friday the 31st of August I got to have a little talk to a lot of the Standen volunteers, and for them to have a little private view of the exhibition, which was absolutely fantastic. The funny thing was the talk started at 6 o'clock, and literally I finished sweeping the floor of the exhibition space at about 5:30. Just had enough time to like drink a glass of water, do my hair, get myself sorted, and then go and do the presentation. But it's been fantastic, and it's already been really warmly received by people, and it's just lovely. It's lovely to take these servants' quarters, which had often been used in different ways, and actually present them in a way that made them look like an art gallery. And I know that the people at Standen have been really happy with it. I would like to thank Richard Kwadzinski in particular for his support, because he was there helping me stick things on the walls and running around like a mad thing. But it's really great, and if you're in the area, the exhibition is on at Standen until the 11th of November, and then after that we've got the winter tree installation, which will be happening from the end of November through to the start of January. And if you haven't got your bauble on already, come on now, clocks are ticking. Speaking of baubles, we've had loads of them coming in. I'm going to make a separate bauble video just to showcase some of the extra things that come in. I think my postman thinks there's something crazy going on, because every single day now there are bauble packages coming in, and it's fantastic. I'm loving getting the stories of them, I'm loving seeing the variety that can be achieved. I've even started stitching my own bauble now. But I'm saving all that for another video, just so that you can enjoy a load of bauble-y goodness and see what's going on. Suffice to say, It's all coming up Millhouse. One of the things about doing the work at Standen is that it's approximately 2.5 hours from where I live. So in the past week or so I've had a lot of time to do a lot of driving and have therefore ploughed my way through quite a lot of audiobooks. Recently I've been listening to a series of audiobooks by a guy called Michalowicz. I started off with a book of his that was called Clockwork, which is about how to automate your business, but I subsequently spun backwards through his repertoire of books to read a book called Profit First. I've got a book called The Pumpkin Plan, which is queued up to read, and now I'm reading The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, which was his first book. Now, Toilet Paper Entrepreneur is an interesting one because I guess I've been sort of entrepreneuring for almost 10 years with varying degrees of success. And he himself had 2 businesses that he'd started and successfully sold before he wrote this book. But it's interesting to go through and almost listen to some of that fundamental wisdom that I wish I had back in the day to learn things. But it's the Profit First book that is the one that's interesting me the most. As you may recall, in a previous video I talked about the importance of financial management, and today is the first Monday of the month, which is why rather than reconciling my bank accounts, I'm doing a BossTube video. Brilliant. But nonetheless, it's an interesting approach that he has in the Profit First thing. It's quite a simple idea, but you sort of need to listen to the book and the process to understand it. Effectively, my understanding is what you do is you take the profit out first. There are mechanisms by which you can identify your profit, but it's this thing of saying that if you make money and you're an entrepreneur and you see that you've got spare money, you tend to reinvest that back in the business and you tend to put it into things that kind of grow and support you in what you're doing. But you don't necessarily make the right decisions or the most efficient decisions. The idea with this is that you have an income account and then you set up separate savings pots, which is what I've been doing today. I've gotten onto my business bank and I've said I want 4 separate savings accounts. One is for profit, one is for operation expenses, one is for tax, and one is for owner's pay. And the idea is you follow his formulas and you work out in relation to the amount of money your business is bringing in, how to divvy up that money. So my understanding of how it works is that you take each month, twice a month, you take all of your income that's come into your income and you split it into the 4 pots. So you put a bit aside for tax, a bit aside for your operating expenses, a bit aside for your owner's pay. Owners get paid, who would have thought? And you put your profit aside. Now, the proportions with which you do this are based on some figures that Mike has put together, having analysed over 1,000 companies to understand their different ratios at different levels. And it's something to aim for, like the specs he puts in are indicative and something to aim for. But the idea is that within each pot, then you say that is the amount of money I have to spend on that thing. So in your operating expenses pot, if the amount of money that you've put in there doesn't meet the amount of money that you're spending on your expenses, then maybe you need to streamline things. There's this intrinsic thing that we do where we say, oh my God, I haven't got enough money to pay the bills, I need to make more money, I need to sell more things. And although that's kind of true, there's also this thing of saying, am I spending money unnecessarily? What can I be more efficient about? It deeply saddens me to have lost Amanda, my video producer, but I recognise now that has saved me a bunch of money, which I can probably do with keeping at the moment. It was a bit of an expense that, although it made sense at the time, might have been something I could have done differently. And there's this trade-off between, the things you can do yourself and delegating responsibility to other people. But clearly with this focus on profit, you get to a point of understanding that there is profit you can make, and that by taking it in the first place, you then divvy up the rest and you have a true recognition of what you're spending, rather than plugging away. If you get £100, but like £20 of that is profit, but you're using it to pay for your expenses, it's unrealistic to do that. I know I make profit on my magazines, but I'm using that to offset my expenses. So it's an unrealistic profit situation, and that's how you sort of gamble and get by, but then suddenly you realise, oh my God, I've got no money left. So it's an interesting experiment, and although I'm still listening to it and working out how to do it, I'm going to try and implement it, because I've been doing this for a year. I can see that there is a profit that I am just about making, and it'll be interesting to see what I can do to streamline things and smooth things and kind of follow this through, because now's a good time to do it. The other book that I've been listening to on my travels is called Finding Ultra by Rich Roll. Rich is a guy who, aged 40, decided to regain his control of his health, and basically he went from being a lawyer in the entertainment business to an ultra marathoner who happens to be essentially plant powered or vegan. And it's a really interesting read, not only for his ability to endure these kind of ultra Ironman events, but also the way he turned himself around by focusing on just eating plant-based products and dispelling some of the myths about, you know, how much protein you can get from plants and all those sorts of things. Now, I'm not in a hurry to turn vegan, but I'm very conscious I'm not getting any younger, and it might be quite a good thing to do to add even more fruits and vegetables into my diet. So it's definitely something that's like filtering through while my tiny bread-based ego goes, no, eat cake. That'll do for now, I think. An interesting BossTube. It's fair to say the month of August had a lot going on, and I'm personally thrilled that I managed to hit all of my goals by plugging away at them and still hopefully maintaining a good relationship with my family and being a quality dad. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. If you've got any thoughts or comments, please do leave them in the comments below. If you've got any questions, I'm not saying I've got a ton of entrepreneurial experience, but I've been stabbing away at this for a decade, and I'd be happy to share anything that I have that resembles wisdom. Feel free to follow up on the books that I've referenced. I've got notes to those in the show notes below, and until next time, everybody, happy bossing! Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did like the video, please feel free to like the video, and hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel as well. I'm Mr. XStitch, I'm the Kingpin of Contemporary Embroidery, and I'm here to change the way you think about needlework. So if you're into that sort of thing, subscribe to the channel and join us for the ride. Thanks very much.